Hey, Chickchang back with another video. My review of the Halo TV series, specifically episode 2. Just my thoughts and opinions about the show in and of itself, specific things that I either liked or kind of bugged me, and I guess it's basically a little bit of a review or summary. So, let's begin. It starts out with a flashback with John, and he's going to leave with his buddy, Soren 66, who is a much different character than what he is in the books and TV show, like way different, which seems to be a common theme in the show. Nowhere near as disfigured, and seems to hate the UNSC and Spartan program, even though it, in a way, was more successful than it should have been for his character. Either way, John shows up, points a gun at him, and is not going to let him leave. Well, Soren is basically able to talk him, through, and hey, I need to leave. It's either I leave or you kill me. So John's like, you know what? I'll let you go. You got 5 minutes. So which isn't much of a head start, but it's something, I guess. And that's pretty much how it ends. Something to kind of note here is that the rubble and Soren both exist, since obviously he's escaping to the rubble, but it's just in a much different way, which, again, common theme throughout the show. Then we jump to the Covenant, and the Elite explains what he saw, which obviously was the ring, and his superiors, being the Prophets and the Blessed One, they're, obviously kind of freaking out. Like, hey, we need that. We need to go know where it goes. And Maki, basically says, hey, I'll go after it. I can blend in. Let me go get it. And they're kind of like, you know what? All right. I'm not a huge fan of the whole Covenant thing allowing in humans, but it is interesting. I think it's overall kind of like lazy writing. Like, it's like, oh, well, they're, humans are betraying the Covenant, or like the Covenant are using humans. Like, no, that was not a thing. And I think it would have been better to kind of stay on that route, since I can't really think of anything in the show thus far. The UNSC have a meeting and they talk about, things going on, and mostly it's about Master Chief. And, are they going to punish him when they bring him back in? Since Keyes kind of, tells everybody, hey, we're going to get him. He's going to be punished. No big deal. And Admiral Hood, was like, we can't really do that. Like, he is the morale for the human race, like fighting against this, much stronger opponent. And I don't really agree with that. I mean, hypothetically, if you wanted to punish him, Oni could definitely do it, and it's not going to hurt morale. Like, you can just, have other Spartans there. And then obviously Halsey brings up Cortana, and apparently, just based off this, she's much more than just an AI. She's literally going to be implanted in the Spartans or something to make them controllable, which it's so stupid. I hate the way that the Spartans are made in a way. I don't know, they seem just like robots. That the whole hormone suppression pellets, it's stupid. I don't like it really, but maybe it ends up being all right. Who knows? And then obviously someone starts, talking about, hey, what's up with this flash cloning business that we be talking about? And Hood just kind of shuts it down, and Parangoski covers for Halsey, and that's the end of that. And then we jump, back to John. He's coming out of slip space in the middle of an asteroid field, and he doesn't have his helmet on. Yeah, you could crash at any moment and probably die, because obviously you'll suffocate. Spartans can last, a decent amount of time in vacuum, but I don't know. Not exactly the brightest idea to just not have the helmet. And then he ends up showing up, at the rubble, and can just park, pulls in, types in the codes, no issues. I don't know. That seems a little iffy, seeing how probably wouldn't want Spartans there, and obviously he gets a warm welcome. And then Soren shows up, greets him, and honestly, of the whole episode, Soren was the best part, by far. His character was hilarious, pretty badass, and just, pretty likable, in my opinion. So yeah, at first I was annoyed by the way that his character was, but no, ends up being pretty good. So John and Quan go with him back to his rock and find out, he's got a family, he's had a kid, which isn't super weird either, because not all Spartans were sterile. It was a side effect of one of the augmentations, but it wasn't, 100%. And then obviously Soren's like, hey, you need to get out of the suit. So either it's really easy to get out of it without the machine, or Soren more likely has his own sort of rig to pull it apart. So they do a little bit of talking, shoots the shit a little bit, I guess, before, he's there obviously because he wants to know about the artifact that he has, but doesn't really try to figure anything out until right at the end. But Soren talks about, the augmentations and the treatments they got, and how it's not what, they're not normal, clearly. And if he lets him take out the suppression pellet, like, oh, dude, you can, taste food. Like, really? That seems really, like, the way the augmentations are portrayed are kind of whack. But, it is what it is. So, yeah, then they obviously start talking about the artifact John brought, and, Soren's like, what is it? What the hell is it? And John's like, I don't know. And he's like, dude, try to at least explain what it does. Like, he just kind of lets Quan, of all people, tell him, oh, it started his ship. It lit off an EMP thing. Like, it did some wacky stuff. And Soren's like, I know a guy. And John's like, nope, taking it, nope. And it's like, dude, like, you went there for information. He knows a guy that has information, and you're just kind of, like, being all weird about it. I don't know. It was a very disjointed, like, conversation that they were having. But either way, they're going to go meet Reth, the dude that's all wacky. So, obviously, they go meet Reth. Dude is pretty crazy. And he, like, forces John to touch it once he realizes, hey, he's probably not a bad guy. And realizes, he's more blessed than the blessed one that the Covenant have. Which, what that means exactly, I don't know. But clearly, he's going to have a much bigger impact with the Forerunner technology, because not all humans can activate it. So that's, humans obviously were the ones that can activate it, but like pretty much any human would do. In this show, only certain ones can. So it's like, I wonder what percentage of humans, so it's probably not gonna be a very high amount. It's gonna be a very small percentage of like the best of the best humans that can do it. So we'll see where that goes. So yeah, John figures out the Covenant have their own blessed one, and that the artifact is meant for a weapon, a ring of sorts. And so he needs to get it back to the UNSC because they need to know. Obviously, the UNSC is the best chance against the Covenant, clearly. So, yeah, needs to get back to them. He wants Quan to stay with Soren so she can survive, because the UNSC wants her dead, the Insurrection wants her dead, everybody wants her dead, so Soren can keep her safe. So he leaves, sets off his beacon, Silver Team comes and gets him. Something else that's kind of minor is that Venture of Madrigal now is pretty much a piece of shit. His character obviously is going to get much deeper, probably. He's just executing followers of Jinha because he didn't like Jinha. I don't know. It seems dumb. Overall, I think the show has gone out of its way to make the UNSC more of the bad guy than anybody else. The insurrection, quote unquote, not Venture's insurrection, but just like the insurrection, like they're the good guys. They're the ones being oppressed and stuff like that. And it's like, that's not entirely true at all most of the time. The UNSC obviously wasn't perfect, but in this, it's like the UNSC's evil. They do the most evil thing, or the like most dumb thing at all points. The Covenant's more incompetent, the UNSC is more incompetent, and then the insurrection seems smaller. I don't know. When he gets back to Reach, obviously he's taken in custody, he's handcuffed and whatnot, and then Halsey goes and meets him in his room, and tries to ask him, why'd you do what you did? And John's like, well, I feel different, I've changed. And when he tries to explain why he feels so much different than he did, and how he like never had feelings like he's having now, Halsey's like, nah, we're not going to deal with that. Don't worry about it. We'll, let the tests run and don't worry about it. Just shuts him down, and then starts to just manipulate him and make him feel bad, basically. Like, you've put me in a bit of a pickle. Like, really? You don't think you did that? And then obviously Cortana's finishing up, so she'll be implemented as they see fit. That'll be interesting when it comes. Honestly, most of the story is kind of odd. It's not at all what I had hoped for, but it is interesting. It is entertaining. So it has that at least. The episode overall was pretty slow. Once again, Soren was really the only saving grace for the episode, in my opinion. Not horrible. Not great, but not horrible. So those are my final thoughts of the episode. Let me know what y'all thought below, and I'll do my best to respond to everybody. If you would like to learn more about the lore and the summaries I've done of each book, they'll be in the channel. There's plenty of summaries to get you started, and that's all for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Chickchang out.